Hey guys, it's another episode of Doc's Weekly Comic Book Pickups, and this week we've got some real bangers. It's not a huge week, but there's some really amazing stuff. All right, I'm going to talk about this in an initial assessment video, but we have The Return of the Century with writer Paul Jenkins and artist Christian Rizondo. I love this book. I wish I could talk about this one right now, but you gotta hang out and watch for the drop of the initial assessment video. Amazing stuff. So to go to the pick of the week that I can talk about, G.I. Joe issue number 20. And this is written by Joshua Williamson with art by Andrea Milana. And we have the first meeting of Duke and Optimus. Not Optimus Prime, but Optimus. And they faked us out now that I think about it, because that's you see Optimus Prime on the cover, but it's not Optimus on the inside. But you get Matt Tracker and Split Iron going at each other, and Split Iron has now started working for Cobra, and he says, I thought I knew you, and he said, hey, I go where the money is, which is, that's natural to a certain extent. And he's Tracker's about to get run over because he's getting chased by Split Iron in this giant monster truck. And in the end, Hound comes to the rescue, and Split Iron is like, nope, I'm out. I'm not getting paid enough to deal with giant robots. Nope, not going to do that. So Matt Tracker's upset with Clutch and Hound, and he says, I didn't want to be found. And Clutch says, well, maybe don't be racing in the streets. He says, I told you not to tell anyone that you know me. And he says, is that any way for saying thanks for saving my life? Sounds like you owe us a favor now. So he does end up fixing the transponder inside of Hound so that Hound can now locate his fellow Autobots. And that's pretty neat to mix that in. But look at this. You get a double page spread. And they talk about war. They talk about heroism. They talk about sacrifice. And in the end, Duke and Optimus come to a mutual respect for each other. Top-notch stuff, Josh Williamson. That's just, it mixes the mythology of these two and intertwines them to the point where they almost can't be separated again. This was an amazing book. You and Andrea and the entire team should be very proud of the work that you're doing, and I know that Larry Hama is very proud of the work that you're doing with this G.I. Joe book for Skybound and the Energon universe. Pick of the week. Love this book more and more with each issue. All right, next up we have The Walking Dead Deluxe, issue number 133. Again, written by Robert Kirkman and drawn by Charlie Adlard with inks by Stefano Guardino. And Carl finally reads the letter that Anna sent to him, and in it she professes that she loves him and says, you were very special to me, and I cherish the friendship that we've had these years. Please write me back now that you're living at the hilltop. You get Eugene and Rosita talking about a baby. You get the new group sitting down talking to Andrea, and Andrea's trying to explain who Rick is, who Negan is, get them all caught up. And in the end, they're like, you guys aren't so bad after all. You're not trying to capture us. You're trying to keep everything safe. And Rick does seem like a heroic character. And in the end, you get Jesus and his compatriots being stalked by the Whisperers. So this is when the book heated up again. It kind of took a backstage for a few issues. The excitement wore off after All Out War, and then now we have the Whisperers about to come in full bore and absolutely upset the entire apple cart. I keep forgetting how good this book was and for how long it was on point. Unfortunately, I think once we get to about 150, the wheels kind of fall off. I kept reading it because I just knew that Robert Kirkman would get back on the horse at some point, get back in the saddle. And I kind of feel that he did towards the very end of the book, but it took a long time to get there. So for right now, I'm still enjoying getting to read this in glorious full color by Dave McCaig, and I can't recommend this series enough. If you haven't read it in black and white, go back and find those trades. Or if you want to read it in color, they've been collecting the color issues in trades as well. So just one of the best books that ever came out. Now in a better format. Okay. The Lucky Devils by Charles Soule and Ryan Brown. This book has been MIA for, it feels like, about 10 years. But we pick up with Rake and Collar. And Rake has set up her new boyfriend to get pulled down and sent back to Z1. She's trying to raise her own level by bringing others down. She's going her own way. Collar wants to get back together. He'd love to, but he realizes she's gone. She's moved on, and she's traveling her own path, and he's got to travel his. Now, I've got to read these pages real carefully before I show you anything. But the point is, it's taken a long time to get where we need to go. There is some action in this issue with Rake and Collar, and Rake is going to try to twist her character, Star, into doing something, support something that's not good. Snake oil, something like that. Support that and let people go and buy it. And she's like, yeah, but why am I doing that? Why am I supporting something that I don't have any medical know-how or information on? Why am I doing that? And then meanwhile, you have Collar's fellow, Cam, who has gone to a sanitarium to try to get himself some rest. He's like, you went to the loony bin? And he said, no, it's a rest home. I'm getting myself together. And in the end, he says, I'm in this to win it. And Cam, I want you to win it with me. And he said, I need you to understand where I'm at. And so in the end, he opens a portal to hell and kicks Cam in. So level 8 and level 9 are probably going to be pretty decent books, but this has just taken way too long for me personally to stay totally invested in it. So I really hope that issues 8 and 9 come out pretty quick. Charles Soule will take a back seat on Death Spiral, on Amazing Spider-Man and Venom and all that, and come back and let's finish this up and get it done. Get it finished. All right, next to the last book is Battle Beast, issue number 7. It is back. Robert Kirkman, Ryan Ottley working on the Battle Beast, and it's got this awesome Todd McFarlane cover. I really miss Todd doing more than covers. I wish that he would come back and do some interiors on some books, just to surprise people, just to come out and be like, ta-da, here I am. Even if you just did a splash page or something right in the middle of somebody's book, that would be great. That would be great to, hey, special guest artist for 2 issues for a splash page. And then you go and you flip through it and you're like, oh my God, it's Todd. But you get to see the main character name the robot, the computer that has been following Battle Beast and now the prince around, and he names her Zula. And they get to talking and they're like, hey, I wonder where Beast is at. And he was almost killed by that Juggernaut in the last issue. So he is beat up. He is totally beat up. But he's taken to the healer that the prince knows. And meanwhile, you have a little bit of levity here And the Juggernaut comes out and says, "Give me more of your citizens to devour so that I can regain my strength so that I can go finish this battle beast character off." And one of the wise men says, "No, I've stood far too long. As you use and abuse my people, I can no longer allow you to ravage and devour us. I'm through with it. Phooey." And she says, "You stand against me?" And he says, "I do." And I love the facial expression that you get on that guy. And he's like, "Oh yeah, come on, bring it on." And he's blasting her, and he's like, "I can do this. I'm beating her. She's falling back. I'm doing it. I'm holding her back. I'm getting my licks in." And he says, "Yeah, boy." And about that time, she bites his hand off. And so she says, "You can all come out of your hiding places. His sacrifice will do for now." And so it's still bloody and gory, but funny at the same time. We eventually do get the return of Battle Beast back to his regular form, and the prince has to try to convince him. He's like, Battle Beast is like, "You know what? I've already decided I'm going to beat this woman. I'm going to destroy her. There's no challenge in this for me." And the prince says, "I thought we were friends. You have so much power, and the chance of you losing a fight are minuscule at best. Why don't you use all that rage, I don't know, to do something meaningful? You said you brought peace to your world. Didn't that feel good for at least a moment?" So now we get to see that Battle Beast is going to go for round 2 against this Juggernaut, but maybe her brother's not as dead as he seemed before, so maybe Battle Beast is going to have round 2 against 2 foes. Could that possibly be the end of our heroic, well, not heroic character, but our character who seeks an end? We shall call him that. It's great to have this book back. That was a lot of fun, and I can't wait for issue 8. Okay, and then we get, finally, The Amazing Spider-Man issue number 24. And this is written by Charles Soule with Joe Kelly, and art by Jesus Saez. And you get to understand the relationship between Eddie Brock and his father, just in time to see his father killed by Torment. And so you think it's going to be Carnage versus Torment, but Torment has the Shocker's gloves, so he can control the sound waves, and as Torment sees it, the spirals that are coming out of his gloves. And he says, "So much yelling. Let's try listening for a change, huh?" And so he says, "See, I know you can hear it, and you hear thrum, so you hear that sonic sound." And he says, "This is what dying sounds like." And so he knocked Eddie out. Meanwhile, Peter has got to learn to deal with Mary Jane being Venom. Venom, the same Venom that has tried to kill Peter many times, the same Venom that Peter himself rejected years ago because he didn't want to be bound to a symbiote. And yet Mary Jane is floating around in this costume like it's nothing. You have some changes with Peter's friend Brian. We don't really know what that is, but I'm guessing that it's not Texas tea, as the Beverly Hillbillies would say. So I really enjoyed this part of Spiral. Jesus Saez's artwork is growing on me. I read the first issue or 2 of his Punisher run a while back with Jason Aaron, and it was good. I enjoyed that artwork. Not the series so much, but the artwork. So I think they said he's doing this issue and then doing Venom 257. So he started it all off as the main artist, and then he's done this issue, and then he's done 257 of Venom. So looking forward to continuing on with Death Spiral. What do you guys think about Death Spiral? I think it has a solid premise, and so far, I don't feel like it's gone off the rails. I don't feel like, I'm still fully invested in trying to figure out who Torment is. And seeing as how we saw him kill the Shocker, I don't really think it can be the Shocker, which is what a lot of people have been saying since they saw the gauntlets. I thought maybe he could go on that route. Something terrible happened, a la Civil War, and Speedball turned into that other dark version of himself. It was kind of like the Master of Pain, where he was a sadomasochist because he felt like he had let people down, so he turned into a twisted, dark version of himself. But that doesn't seem to be what's going on here. But I'm here for it. I really think that Death Spiral could be one of the better, if not perfect, miniseries and series within a series stories that we've gotten in a very long time. So, gentlemen, ladies, boys, girls, children of all ages, that is the haul for this week. What did you think? And how many books did you buy that are the same books that I have? Did you pick up anything different? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you have not yet, please like and subscribe to the channel. We are growing day by day with subscriber count. And I'm trying my best to bring you guys new and interesting videos each and every day, just like this one. So thanks again for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. I hope you found everything at the shop that you want, and I'll catch you later.